This presentation analyzes the morality of adultery through the lens of Kant's deontological ethics by applying the three formulations of the categorical imperative: the formula of universal law, the formula of humanity, and the formula of the kingdom of ends. This analysis demonstrates that adultery fails each test. It creates logical contradictions when universalized, reduces persons to mere instruments for personal gratification, and undermines the ideal of a harmonious community of rational beings united under common laws. My name is Jorge Hernandez Martinez, and I am one of the students at University of the People. And what we are going to do is we are going to explore the core of Immanuel Kant's deontological ethics by applying his three formulations of the categorical imperative to a complex and personal moral scenario: adultery. Our goal is to move beyond subjective feelings or consequences and evaluate the act itself through the lens of pure reason, determining whether it can ever be morally permissible according to Kant's framework. The scenario we will evaluate is one of adultery within a marriage. To analyze it, we will use the three central formulations of Kant's categorical imperative as outlined in his groundwork of the metaphysics of morals. The first deals with universalizability, the second with the intrinsic value of rational beings, and the third with the ideal of a moral community. We will now apply each one to our chosen act. And what we have here is a scenario. The scenario that we have is an individual, in this case person A, is a committed monogamous in a committed monogamous marriage. Despite their vows, person A chooses to engage in a sexual and emotional relationship with person B, deceiving their spouse to do so. So this is the scenario. This is what we are going to analyze. The validity of this maxim according to the Kant's three formulations. And in this case, applying the first formulation, we have the adulterer's maxim might be: when I desire a secret romantic relationship, I will deceive my spouse to pursue it, thereby maintaining the stability of my marriage while fulfilling my personal desires. Now, we must universalize this maxim. Imagine a world where everyone in a marriage acts on this same rule. In such a world, no one would trust their partner. The very concept of a marriage, which is a consensual union built on promises of fidelity, would become meaningless because those promises would be systematically broken. As one source notes, if such a behavior were universal, it would undermine the institution of marriage and the trust essential for stable relationships. You would be willing a world with marriage and a world where marriage is impossible, which is a logical contradiction. Therefore, the maxim fails the test. It cannot be consistently willed as a universal law. So this is the first formulation. And we have the second formulation. When we apply the second formulation, we have that it requires us to treat all rational beings, including ourselves, always as ends in themselves and never merely as a means. How does adultery fare? The adulterer uses their spouse as a means to maintain domestic stability and social standing, while denying them the truth needed to make their own rational choices about the relationship. The spouse is manipulated, their agency is compromised, and they are treated as an object to be managed rather than a partner to be respected. Furthermore, the third party is also often used merely as a means to the adulterer's gratification without the full respect and commitment of a genuine partnership, by prioritizing personal desire over the rational agency of others. Adultery fundamentally fails to honor the humanity in others. So this is the second formulation applied. Then we have the third formulation, and in the third formulation combines the first two into the concept of a kingdom of ends, an ideal community where everyone makes laws that could be universally accepted by all rational beings. In this kingdom, all members are both lawmakers and subjects, united by respect for each person's autonomy. Adultery has no place here. The maxim of the adultery is private and self-serving. It cannot be harmonized into a system of laws to which all rational beings in a community could consent. A kingdom built on systematic deception is a contradiction in terms. The act isolates the individual from the moral community, fracturing the trust and mutual accountability that a kingdom of ends requires. The individual acts as if they are an exception, not a co-legislator for a universal community. And we have, in this case, these harmonious laws, mutual respect, shared purposes, and the kingdom of ends, a systematic union of rational beings under common objective laws. And then we have adultery, which introduces distrust, secrecy, and division. Now, as a conclusion for this essay, when we evaluate through Kant's deontological framework, adultery is unequivocally morally impermissible. It fails each formulation of the categorical imperative. It cannot be universalized without logical contradiction. It treats persons as mere means rather than ends in themselves, and it undermines the very idea of a harmonious moral community. This analysis highlights the strength of Kantian ethics. It provides a consistent, reason-based test for morality that doesn't rely on predicting consequences, but instead on the intrinsic rightness or wrongness of our maxims. It shows that for Kant, morality demands we act in a way that respects the rational agency of everyone always. And these are the key sources that inform this presentation, from Kant's original formulations to contemporary scholarly interpretations and applications. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions or feedback, I will be happy to answer those.